continue the series of the famous Rabbonim of yesteryear. And we're in Syrian territory. It marks the Hilula today on Yud Dalet Tishrei, just before Sukkot, the festival of Sukkot starts, of Rabbi Tzion Bracha, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, one of the great rabbis from Syria, who was actually born in the area of Halab, and he came from very great rabbinic heritage. His father's name was Rabbi Habib, and his mother's name was Jamila or Gamila. It's actually very interesting. Also, among his brothers was Rabbi Abram and Rabbi Khalfon, also really great. And he also had a sister called Rabbanit Latifa and Velislacha, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I think one of them was happened to have the husband of Rabbi Eliyahu ben Elios, who was, I think, a very prominent rabbi, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he had great rabbis, and we're going to explore some of the tidbits within regards to his history, including among his rabbis was famous Rabbi Yehuda Fataya and Rabbi Mordechai Shirabi. Rabbi Mordechai Shirabi had a premium position. He was one of the founders, or the founder, of the famous yeshiva Nahar Shalom yeshiva in Jerusalem, in the Nachlaot neighborhood, which maybe we'll expound on in due course also. So as we said before, he was born in Syria, in Halab. Over there, that's where there was a very great Torah community over there. There was troubleships while he was young in his life. I think his mother raised him. His father passed away, if I'm not mistaken, even before he was born. And his mother raised him. Obviously, it was difficult times, Mesirat Nefesh, as is described on this. I recommend everyone to read the article in the jdn.co.il website within regards to him for his previous Hilulot, which I talked about over here. But Mesirat Nefesh, and brought him in within regard, imbued him within regards to Yirat Shamayim, a fear of Hashem, and also great amount of Torah. And by the time I think he reached bar mitzvah age, if I'm not mistaken, he actually yearned so much to go to Israel, and finally actually came to Eretz Yisrael. And I think he traveled around at some stage in time, and finally he actually arrived in the Ir HaKodesh, the holy area, the holy country in itself. And I think at this beginning he actually started off in Tel Aviv. He stayed in Tel Aviv, and I think at one stage he visited one of his aunts in Jerusalem, and he felt the need of coming to live inside the city. And I think he ended up living inside Jerusalem for the rest of his life. It's actually interesting. He was learning Torah pretty much the entire day, but at the same time, he would also work in a profession. I think he worked in the market nearby for a few hours per day also, and had different other jobs throughout, just to make a, let's just say, a small parnasah hishtadlut, as they call it. But he was learning pretty much at the top level throughout the day. And he was pointed out in over here in this excellent article that he would go to, after the work, I don't know for every single day, but very, very frequently, to the Kotel HaMaravi, to the Western Wall over there, and he would recite over various different verses of Tehillim, chapters of Tehillim in itself, and also the highest levels of Torah he would actually study there, and reported over, especially from the point of Chatzot Alayla till the morning in of itself on many, many occasions. He learned in a Chavrutah with one of the great Iraqi rabbis. His name was Rabbi Sלמאן, Mוצפי, Zecher Tzadik Libracha. They learned at obviously the top level together on a regular basis. And he was learning, I think, for, if I'm not mistaken, 7 hours straight. And many of the learning times he was done was in a privacy at that point in time. He was learning Gemara, the whole of Shas, and especially during the Shabbat itself, the Sabbath itself, he would learn Torah Tasod, as they say, and he would learn, I think, even during the specifically from the Shabbat afternoon till the Chatzot Alayla. I think what's interesting over there, he really was marbit Torah to many people. He brought about huge amounts of imbuement of Torah in many other people that were living in his specific vicinity, and brought them closer to mitzvot. I think he was very strict with regards to his prayers and the various mitzvot, with the kavanah he had, the intentions he had within regards to it, so that the tefillot, the prayers, would get accepted at the highest rates possible. And he would have, I think, many guests around. He would speak to people in the street, make sure that they were enriched in Torah, make sure that they were awakened, let's just say, in itself, make sure they were coming to Shura Torah, make sure they were learning in yeshivot. And this was a fantastic quality he had. The way, sometimes personalized ways is much greater when people are trying to bring people closer to Judaism in of itself. I think he studied in a famous Beit Midrash over there, which had 2 floors over there. And I think there was a this Beit Midrash comprised of many different great Kabbalists over there, and I think there was many of the Talmidim over there, and he would call and embrace the Talmidim, his students, and call them Hayeladim Sheli. That's how much he loved all his students. He really yearned and loved the students and really wanted the best for them within regards and imbued. He cried for them in his tefillot that they would become great, these students, and the Yirat Shamayim will be accurate. He was very strict within regards to the various different fences within regards to holiness, Kedusha in of itself. He would put big, let's just say in of itself, big benchmarks within regards to all the different areas of the mitzvot to make sure that he will be coming on to the highest level possible. Many more things can be said. They say that he had Ruach HaKodesh, which is very interesting enough, and he was close to many of the rabbis. He had a great amount of humility in of itself, and the emunah he had in Hashem was absolutely phenomenal. He helped within regards to all Avrechim inside the yeshivot, teaching them, making sure that they had all their needs, everything perfect, because obviously Avrechim, these are the highest caliber to actually learn and keep the world going, as we actually believe in of itself. And it was really much PR to many other people over there. It was reported of that people would offer him money to make sure that he was okay, but he profoundly refused on many occasions, and I think he was offered different huge sums of money, which many of it would have come to Torah, but he wouldn't necessarily take the money over here whenever they offered him. He was really one of the great assets of the yeshivot in Jerusalem in of itself, respectively. Passed away on Yud Dalet Tishrei, I believe in the year 2004, 2005, if I'm not mistaken, around 20 years ago from the time of recording. And this happened to be actually on an Erev Sukkot in of itself. Now, he was actually, I believe, he was buried obviously, naturally, in Israel, I think in the Har Nochot cemetery, if I'm not mistaken, which is also interesting enough to point out. He left great descendants, including his sons, Rabbi Yitzchak, I think who happened to be the author of the famous book, the Birkat Yitzchak, and Rabbi Moshe. And among his daughters include Rabbanit Esther, Rabbanit Yafa, I believe her husband happened to be Rabbi Meir Kidar, also Rabbanit Nechama, who her husband happens to be Rabbi Tzadok Pinchas Alahab HaKohen, and Rivka also, Rabbanit Rivka, the husband happens to be Rabbi Shimon Vaknin, another one of the great rabbis, and Rabbanit Simcha, whose husband was Rabbi Yosef Shar Shalom, if I'm not mistaken. Really great people. And it's actually interesting, he had many great Talmidim, many great students in itself, including Rabbi Aharon Biton, and also the famous Mukubal Rabbi Ben Yahu Shmueli, who happens to be currently, I believe, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Yeshivat Nahar Shalom, which he himself was a great component of, and learned that at a huge level. Another one of his students, Rabbi Gidon Holland. And another one was Rabbi Chaim Mizrahi and Rabbi Shaul Sasson. These were really great Talmidim of the highest caliber. We mentioned his rabbis before, including Rabbi Mordechai Sharabi, the founder of the famous Yeshivat Nahar Shalom. This place is actually, on this channel in of itself, we actually visited the famous Yeshivat Nahar Shalom Yeshiva only a few weeks ago, and really got very much inspired, because the Kabbalistic learning and the Torah learning over there is of the highest level. And he himself was a great asset of Yeshivat Nahar Shalom, the great rabbi in of itself. Please don't forget to light candles in his memory. His Hilula is here on Yud Daled Tishrei, the 14th of Tishrei, just before, as obviously naturally we are coming into the festival of Sukkot. He was very close to, as we stated before, to Rabbi Mordechai Sharabi and many of the great rabbis. And please subscribe to the channel. We've covered more than 420 videos of the great Rabbanim of yesteryear. Wishing you well and blessings from Israel. Take care.